all of your professional life is about managing expectations, yours and other people's. So so you may as well start as soon as you're starting on your professional career. You may as well start managing your expectations about what you can achieve, and indeed what the organization will do for you, but also the organization's objectives about what you can do for it. And I always think it's really important to have clear expectations established around any sort of project or being asked to do any task. And quite often that's because, and we all do it as managers, we say, well, could you just sort this out? And you don't describe what this is, or when it has to be sorted out, or what success will look like. And you've got somebody going, yeah, and then going away, hopefully thinking about what this might be and coming back with a series of questions. So that whole setting of expectations helps with clarity. It helps with assessment of how good it's been. It also opens up areas where there might be additional assistance needed, or things that might not work. It's and that setting of expectations starts that conversation. And I genuinely think that nearly all of our professional lives are about managing expectations.
Yeah, so I think knowing exactly what's expected from you, I think, is critical at all levels. And actually, I often used to meet, when I was running the UK and Ireland business, I'd meet all our new graduates every month on their first day. And I'd say to them, look, some of the things which that they need to do as people starting their careers. And it'll be about just delivering great quality work, and that they can be really proud about the way that they work with their peers in a very collaborative, collegiate way, building teams, building really good networks, and actually just working together with showing people respect and the importance of the tone that they have, going the extra mile to help them stand out. And actually, once they've developed the core skills, they can go on to manage bigger teams and they can go on to lead. But really, they start by just delighting our customers, and learning, maximizing their learning for their benefit and for ours. And so early on in your career, it's actually about doing your job with great, as you would say, professionalism, right? It's about being, doing what you said you're going to do. It's about being organized. It's about meeting the deadlines and never missing a deadline. It's about really being proud of the work you do, and if that means you have to spend an extra hour to stay up, at the office an extra hour one evening because you've not quite finished it, but you want to get it done to the quality you want, then great. So I think early on in your career, that becomes what the role is. That's what the role is about. When you get to my stage, and it's a much more, it's perhaps less obvious, right? But the heart of my role is to deliver a growing business at a certain rate. It's about delivering profits, etc. But it's also about the way I lead people. And if I stopped communicating, I wouldn't be doing my job.
I do need to take notes. So quite often I will say at the beginning of a call, say, look, what you're about to tell me is really important and I want to note it down so that I can refer to it later. So just to say, I'm not ignoring you. You might see the top of my head. I've got my pen. I've got my notebook. Please forgive me whilst I take the notes. I am listening and I will be looking at you. But just almost asking that, or just, again, setting expectation that I am present, but I'm doing something that means that I'll do a better job for you.
Well, I think professionalism is one of the ways that the organizational culture and the wider culture will exhibit itself. Okay? Because what is professionalism is basically how to behave a certain way, to communicate a certain way, the standards to which you will deliver what you're supposed to do in your job. And so basically all that is set up against cultural expectations, if I can say. A lot of them will influence professionalism, basically, and so just very simple examples. Meetings. You're in a meetings, or you have an appointment with somebody. It's an appointment with a customer or a supplier. Okay. And if you're from a culture where basically you see time as something really fixed and that a culture that is really driven by the clock, if I can say. You like the meetings to begin on time. Usually it's associated with liking to have an agenda and to go through the agenda, so to have something very structured. And so basically you expect people to arrive on time, to behave a certain way. If you have an appointment with a client, you will be on time. In other cultures, this is different. Okay, and time is something more fluid, and what you do with it is also something more.
But essentially, we then took the document away, we worked on it, we sent it back. It had this additional section in it, and they were frankly delighted that it had gone from just a plain old, can you zhuzh up my Word document, to being, yes, you've done that, you've done it quicker than you said, and you've added an area to it that I hadn't thought about, and now I think it's better. And that idea of delighting your client, your customer, is really helpful, because you know what, that's when they'll come back. They'll want to work with you again. You've made them feel good, you listened to them, you've helped them, and you've exceeded their expectations.